Hey everyone, this is James Welcome, and this is the Welcome Legacy Podcast, Episode 8. It's from connections to closing, breaking down wholesaling real estate. Here with Lee, one of my mentors.
Yes, sir.
The quote of the day: we don't wait for opportunity, we build it. In this episode, I sit down with Lee, a real estate investor I connected with online back in 2008. I was looking for help with wholesaling, and he not only helped me close my first deal, he also became a mentor in the game. In this episode, we unpack his journey, how wholesaling works, and how anyone can get started in real estate investing with no money down. If you're ready to level up, learn how to wholesale step by step, and build wealth, this episode is for you. And if y'all are getting any value out of this content, please like, share, and comment. And also subscribe. A video will be dropping every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. on all streaming platforms. Lee, what's going on, my brother?
Everything's good, man.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
glad to be here today. Thanks for the opportunity to come out here and talk and, share some knowledge. We'll drop some bombs today. Let's go.
Yes, sir. You know how much I appreciate you showing up, man.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really
No
appreciate you.
problem.
Yes, sir.
Anytime, man.
Yes, sir. So the first segment of this
Yep.
podcast, we're going to talk about family and upbringing.
Okay, cool.
All right. The first question: where did your real estate journey begin, and how did your upbringing shape your hustle?
Yeah, so, I'm a native Floridian, actually like a fourth generation. So my parents, grandparents all came from Florida. They were builders, so I just
Mm-hmm.
kind of grew up around the industry. They were building houses, selling houses. My dad was one of the number one listing agents for, I think it was Watson back in the day. That was in Jacksonville, Florida. But they were
Yeah.
also builders. And my mom is still in builder sales. She does windows, doors, most of the apartment complexes you see around high rises. She'll sell all the windows and doors. I just kind of grew up around that environment. They were
Yeah.
building houses, so I could see what it took to build a house, what it was. I didn't really get into real estate right away, but I got into sales and marketing. So I was selling vacations, timeshares, and stuff like that, which really gave me a foundation for sales and understanding. And that's
Mhm.
kind of how I got started.
That's great. So basically, your family was everybody had a part to play in real estate from the ground up, from
Yeah.
construction to every other part of the home.
Yes, sir.
So you kind of got
Sales, marketing.
grandfathered in. Yep,
Yeah. Yeah.
good.
It's
Ain't
just in
nothing.
the blood.
Yeah, man, ain't nothing wrong with that, man. But that's when everybody's doing something in the family and you got that structure growing up, right? You see what they're doing,
Yeah.
so you gravitate towards what you see doing and it's being productive and it's making some damn good money.
Yeah. Very good money.
Yeah,
You
so
know, it's just something you learn over time. Even though I didn't start out in there, it really gave me a foundation. And I think because it was internalized, I
yeah,
ended up there, I ended up
yeah,
there.
so that's great. All right, let's hit number two.
Okay.
What role does your family play in your drive and success today?
Yeah. Well, my family is my why. I'm not chasing success for a flash in a pan. I'm not trying to, get a quick buck. I'm looking for, generational wealth that I
Yeah.
can pass down to my children and their children. So that's the ultimate goal. I'm looking for freedom, not a flash in the pan or a big, fat payday for one time.
Building wealth is like the knowledge that you acquired, right? Because you have a wealth of knowledge in real estate, wholesaling, all that stuff. And
Yeah.
with the family being involved in it and the stuff so it's like it's a pool of information that everybody is digesting and they're learning from it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the same thing that I want to leave generational wealth for my family. And
Yep.
like when I first started talking to you,
Yeah.
like things I was going through and stuff like that. And you seen me transform to a different person doing a whole bunch of different things, just
Oh yeah.
acquiring
Yeah.
knowledge. And I stayed in contact with you the whole
Yeah.
time.
Same here, brother.
Yeah,
I
so it's
seen you
like,
starting out just trying to learn how to get the contract closed, and I'll never
yeah,
forget that deal. I was in Deltona doing a flip, and I was
yeah,
remodeling it. And the guy calls, says, "Hey, I'm interested in this Ocala deal." I ran out there, and we had only been marketing it for a day or so.
Yeah.
drove straight to the property, met the buyer, went to the gas station. He's like, okay, we negotiated a little bit, and then he ended up taking the deal. Now,
Yeah.
there was a whole other problem at the title company. We had some issues, but we got it straightened out, switched titles, and closed right away. So,
Yep.
but
That
that
was.
comes from knowledge.
Yeah. It was. No,
Yeah,
you hit me up. You was like check your bank account, and I checked the account. I said, damn, it's right. I say it really works.
yeah, it's
It really
real.
works.
It's real.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's
When the
real.
wire hits, you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Thank
But
you very much.
creating that through your family too. What you say?
No, I didn't say anything.
Kind of froze up a little bit.
Yeah.
But creating wealth for generations, man, that's one of the biggest things. That's why I want to do all writing these books and building a business from the ground up, something that I can pass down to these kids and to their kids, and hopefully they keep it moving and don't try to get rid of something. So
Yeah, I mean, my son works with me. I'm in the acquisitions. He does all my dispositions. So it's really a family business for us. And, it's teamwork.
yeah,
And,
in house.
he handles that side, I handle this side. And we have a team of VAs that help us. So, we keep it moving. But my point is, that we keep it in the family.
Yep, that's like I gotta keep all that in the family, man.
Yes, sir.
Everything I'm learning, I want them to learn it too.
Yeah.
All right, let's hit number 3.
Okay.
How do you balance the demand of entrepreneurship with being present for your family?
Yeah. So for me, I build systems, and that's how, most people build a business and it runs them. You're spending all your time trying to manage many, many, many different aspects
Mhm.
of the business. But when I
Yep.
built this business, I built it on top of systems. So I keep things super efficient. Like I said, we have the VAs to help us send out contracts. We have the VAs to help us with lead generation, doing the, lower level task that just draw down your time. So what I try to do is have systems, processes, and softwares. We even use AI at this point, that'll
Yeah.
find leads for us, contact leads for us, send out contracts for us or LOIs to, peak interest. And once we get to a certain point, then we're able to, get that deal under contract. And then it's fully automated on the back end. So when we're attempting to sell the property, we just put it into a system that sends it out to all of our buyers, automated text, voice, everything. So when it comes down to time management, you have to have systems, processes, and people in place to help you so that can give you the time and the freedom, which is why I do all this because I'm not going to work a 9 to 5 and be tied down. You're just, it's not for me. So I have to be available. And what I'm saying is with those systems and processes, it gives me that time freedom that I'm
Yeah.
looking for, and it gives you the balance of your personal life and your business life. Don't get me wrong, because when I'm on, I'm on. I stay. I work
Stay
hard.
at it. But it's good to have different
Yeah.
stuff in your business, especially to just like with the VAs, making the phone calls and stuff like that. So that frees up more time in your day. So you dedicate your time towards the things that you know that can't nobody else do. That you know what I mean? Because anybody can make the phone calls,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
calling 50 to 100 people or so a day or something like that, man, it's a lot of time consuming.
Yeah, it's very consuming. So you need to use technology and have some systems and processes. I use a,
Mhm.
high level CRM, which automates all of my marketing, automates all my dispositions. So for example, if a lead comes in, it automatically texts them out, lets them know, hey, or gives them the opportunity to set up an appointment to a specific time. If they don't set up that time, then you can just call them right away. But it automatically sends them a message to let them know, hey, we received your information. Someone will be reaching out to you shortly. And I'll typically call them within the first 30 seconds, or one of our reps will call them.
Sweet, man.
Yep, it's very good.
Evolving. AI is a big help, writing
Yeah,
stuff up too.
yep, yep.
Can't go wrong with that, bro.
No, not at
All right,
all.
let's hit this one. We kind of touched on a little bit of this.
Yeah.
Getting into real estate is the segment. What made you decide to get into real estate investing?
Well, I was in, like I said earlier, I was in sales and marketing. So I had that foundation and I
Uh,
had sold my business, for a pretty good amount of money. I moved to Brazil. I lived down in Brazil for about 8 years.
oh
And
man.
then I said, hey, I got to go back. I got to get back to work. It was just too perfect, right?
Yeah.
Every day the sun comes up at 5:30, goes down at 5:30. Sky was blue every day. It
Yeah.
was just too perfect. And, it's more of a place for vacationing than it is for
Yeah.
working, right? So, I came back to the U.S. and I was just trying to figure out what I was going to do at that point, because I had sold the marketing company that I had, which we were selling timeshare advertising. So it was like a for sale by owner thing. But my point is that when I came back, I was looking for something to do, and I seen a guy was advertising online. Mind you,
Yeah.
I had never heard of wholesaling, or I had bought and sold houses, right, and flipped them myself. And I had bought houses for cash and I used them for rentals. But I didn't know or wasn't knowledgeable to the wholesaling game. Okay. So, but I seen this guy advertising. He's like, "Hey, I need someone to help me move these properties." And I was like, marketing? I know marketing. That's what I do, marketing and sales. So I was like, okay, let me call this cat up. So I called him up and he had paid like $25,000 to learn wholesaling from some guys out in Phoenix. I don't even know who the company was, but he was like, "Hey, I need someone to help me move these properties." And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, I know about real estate. I know about sales and marketing. I could do this." Okay, great. So, and I think he was paying me like $500 a week plus, I think it was 8 or 10% commission. But anyway, he had 8 properties under contract. I sold every one of his properties within the first 30 days of being there. And then he's like, "Hey, I need you to help me, buy these properties." I'm like, "Well, I could probably do that too. Let's go." So we started buying and selling. And the next thing you know, the guy's like, "Hey, man, you're only supposed to be making about 12 grand a month. I'm not going to be able to give you this salary anymore to cover your gas." Because at that time, we like today, I do virtual wholesaling nationwide, go anywhere all day over the phone. But with that, everything was local, and I was driving to each house, whether it was buying it or selling it. And it was from here to Lakeland, here to Daytona Beach. So it was a lot of gas back
Yeah.
then. But he's like, "I can't pay you that much." So I was like, "I don't trust this dude." And then he started kind of taking advantage of the people that I was working with on the buy side or the sell side and not paying people right. And I was like, "I don't really want to work for a guy that's unethical." I had a non-compete with him, so I waited about a year and I just started my own. And that's how I got into wholesaling. I learned it from him, but I had the basis. I had the foundation, which really helped me accelerate faster, right?
Mm.
Because I already had the foundation. I knew about building, construction, rehab. What does it take to fix a house? What's it going to cost to fix a house? Which is one of the main things you really need to know when you're looking at buying a property is what's it going to cost you to fix it? Is it going to sell? Is it in a good area, bad area? What's the
The price
comps and
tag
all that?
with it.
Yeah.
Do the
So,
comparison scenario.
yeah, I had the foundation and I just ran with it. So
Mm.
from there, I didn't look back. I've been doing it ever since. And that was
How
around
long did you work
2000.
with him? How
I worked with him I think about 4 months because by the third month, I was already making, 12,000 a month or over 12,000 a month. And he's like, "Hey, I only anticipated you making about 10 to 12,000 a month. So I'm gonna have to take this draw or salary away from you and pay you a little bit less because you're making a lot more." I'm like, "What? What kind of person is this?" So I was like, "Okay, this is not, I don't want to work with this guy." He was not ethical.
yeah, but
So I just went on, did it by myself. I had all the contracts, the buy contract, the sell contract, and I had the knowledge and the expertise. And that's kind of where I took
if
off.
somebody is creating value to your business, right? Because obviously you was creating a lot of value to his business, and without you, he wouldn't have been able to do the things that he was able to do.
No,
So
as soon as we closed, he called me. He was in Puerto Rico, living it up, right? And then he's like, "Hey, I need to pay you less." But to me, in my business, when somebody is making me money, I want to pay them even more.
well,
I
yeah,
had, 200 sales reps on the phone when I had the marketing company before I moved to Brazil. And the more they sold, the more I paid them, right?
they-
Because you reward people for doing a great job. You don't, try to take advantage of them. So, that's how I grew my business was by paying people right. And if they did a great job, especially in sales, the more they sell, the more you should pay them,
yeah, that's
not
true.
less, right?
So you took You took the knowledge that you already had, and he gave you the basics of the wholesaling.
Yeah,
And you just 4 months
I
time
ran with it.
ran with it and been running with it ever since.
Yeah, I didn't look back. I just kept on going, man. Let's go.
That's great, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Hold on, where we at? How do you learn the ropes in such a competitive market?
Yeah, I mean, sorry
It's
about that.
it's
Yeah,
based.
no, I trial and error, trial and error and obsession. I got around people, that were doing what I wanted to do. I cut off all the fluff, all the noise, and just closing deals. I put my head down and just grinded. I think it's consistency and drive and motivation of just getting out there, getting those deals, locking them up, and then pass them off to my cash buyers. And I made a lot of good relationships with the cash buyers, and some of those cash buyers to this day are still buying from me, you know? So relationships, trial and error, and motivation and drive and commitment to, making the company grow.
Failing forward.
Yeah, you gotta skin your knees, man. There was many times, I didn't have a closing, so I just had to do what I had to do in those times. But in the beginning, everybody goes through that. You
It's a learning there.
Yeah, you just go through trials and errors and learn what works, what don't work, what's the best lead sources for you, different obstacles you got to go through.
Yeah, until you fine tooth it, and then
Yeah.
you be
I mean,
rocking.
when we started out, we were just writing on a piece of paper. Then we got to where we're putting it into a spreadsheet and we're texting people on a phone, buyers. And that was my Rolodex of people just texting back and forth. And that was just how it started.
Yeah,
That's just, then you grow, then you find out automations and systems and processes and streamline it so that you can, scale it up.
yeah,
That's where we're at today is just scaling.
it's great, man.
Yeah.
What were your biggest challenges early on?
I think the biggest challenges in the very beginning was, generating leads and learning what leads close the best and, how to get through that because, it's not like it is today, right? So leads, we had to learn the hard way. So it was just trial and error. We use inbound leads, we use Facebook leads, we use Google leads,
Yeah,
PPC. But back then, in the very beginning, I mean, we were buying leads for cheap, dirt cheap, right?
yeah,
And then as the marketers started catching on, they started raising the price, raising the price, raising the price. And from there, we just said, let's do it in house and figure out how to do it ourselves. And eventually that's how we, through trial and error, we learned how to do it ourselves and generate our leads, which gives us, the most return for our buck.
I remember when we was first, like when I first started talking to you, I was going through so many different things trying to find leads because you'll find the abandoned properties or whatever else, and then if you don't have like the software, like through the being a realtor, because through realtors you got different access to certain things that you pay for yearly.
Yeah.
So you can skip trace something and you can find, you don't really got to skip trace it, just like forewarn, stuff like that. You can find the owner's numbers, stuff like that. But starting out, you don't know how to do it because you go to the property appraiser
Yeah.
website
Yeah.
and you just find the person name and you can't find a phone number. And then if you find a number, you got to go through a whole list of them depending on how many they don't have. And that's one thing that I kept running into when I find a good deal but I can't never contact nobody to see if they
Right.
want to put the house under contract. So that there stops a lot of people when they're first getting in it.
Yeah. I mean, back then you had to skip trace and it was 10 cents or 20 cents or even more. Not like today, you can go on batch leads or deal machine and it comes AI assisted skip trace for you. I mean, we were using bandit signs and driving for dollars. So we would
Mhm.
just drive around neighborhoods. If we had a house under contract, we would just put the signs all in that same area. If we
Yeah,
were going to sell the house, you would put signs all in that area. We had a process, and that was 50 signs. As soon as you get
yeah,
a house under contract, you put a sign in the front yard, you put 50 signs around it, closest Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever was close by, because the contractors or flippers are going to Home Depot or Lowe's to get their
buy material.
material for a rehab, right? So you want to put the sign in front of the Lowe's or the Home Depot, and that was the biggest thing back then. I
Yeah,
don't use bandit signs now. Everything's just fully automated, and I have a couple thousand or more cash buyers in my database. As soon as a lead goes under contract, it just automatically texts them based upon, what area they're buying in, what they're buying, what they want to buy, whether it's a rental or fix and flipper, whether they're in Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, Miami, or Texas. We do a lot of deals in Texas now
Hey,
too.
but I got something funny about them damn
Yeah,
about them bandit signs.
yeah, yeah,
I I used to have the back of my station wagon. I had a Roadmaster, it was a Roadmaster wagon.
yeah,
The one the wood crane had the LT1 in it. It was pretty
yeah, yeah.
fast too, but it was all leather heated seats. And I had the kids in the car with me, and I have the back loaded down with those signs.
Yeah, yeah.
And every corner we'll jump out. They used to have talk about my shoes. I had on like some black Tommy Hilfiger shoes. They called them the moon boots or moon shoes or some shit. They used to be laughing so hard
I bet.
because I'll jump out the car with about 4 5 signs in my
Yeah,
hand, and I'll run to the middle, right on the side, and I'll put it down in the ground real quick before they come. So
yeah.
like the cars and stuff be coming, and they just would laugh so much about me running with them damn shoes on. Another thing that they do that like the county do in certain areas, as soon as you
Yeah,
put your signs out there, come and take all of them up too.
yeah. So when they started doing that to me, I used to bring a little step ladder and I had a little slapjack with a
Yeah,
stapler in it. And then I would just climb up the telephone pole where they couldn't reach it and slap it in real good. And then they couldn't take my sign so good. That's how we did it.
that's smart. Because other than that, man, that they just like throwing your money in the trash, man. Because
Yeah,
they still come and snatch every last one of them up.
yeah, yeah. Them signs ain't cheap, man.
Yeah, they ain't. But
Nope.
let's get to segment 3,
Okay.
the wholesaling game.
Yes, sir.
For someone who's never heard of wholesaling, what is it?
Yeah, so wholesaling is basically, you're finding properties that are distressed. Maybe they had a fire, maybe they had a divorce, maybe they
Mm,
got behind on their tax, right? So, but you're finding those through various ways, whether it's, today you're using softwares to find distressed properties and you can scan and set those different parameters. You're locking that up at a heavy discount minus your rehab cost and your assignment fee so that when you sell it to the cash buyer, you've already got all of your profit baked in and you're buying the house at a substantial discount, which on average is 60 to 70 cents on the dollar, minus your repair cost, minus your assignment fee. So if you want to make 10,000, you know,
factor
then you're going to
everything
build
in.
that you're going to build that into it, and then you're
Yeah,
selling it, turning around, and you're flipping that paper to an end buyer, which is a cash investor, local rehabber, flipper guy, and then he's buying it and rehabbing it. Now we don't just do, when I first started out, that's all we did, and there were so many deals and abundance of leads. It was a different game, but now, we don't just do cash deals. There's a lot of people doing it, so there's a lot more competition. There's less, and the sellers are a lot smarter now, right? Because they got all these people calling them all day trying to get them to sell their house for a wholesale deal. So
but
we do, depending upon the property, we have various exit strategies now. So whether we're going to, sell it to a cash buyer, or we're going to owner finance it, or we're going to do subject to, or we're going to novate it. And novation is just that we take those properties that don't necessarily fit the buy box of a cash buyer and they're close to move in ready. Maybe they have a few little items that need fixed, and the person's still motivated to sell. Then we will sell it to the retail end buyer, and we put it right on the MLS. And just to give you an idea, the average wholesale transaction is on average 12,000. The average innovation deal is about 25 to 35,000. Now I've made as much as 60,000 on one novation deal.
that's sweet.
Yeah. And it was on the market one day.
Yeah, sit on
So,
that.
there's money out there, but you got to have multiple exit strategies at this point in, the wholesaling time frame where we're at right now with the competition, with the economy the way it is. Cash buyers are much smarter, so they're trying to lowball you, get your price down because they know the game, right? They know what we're doing, and they're like, "Oh, he has 10 or 15,000, 20,000 padded in. Let me offer him 10 or 15,000 and see what he does," right? So the
Mhm.
buyers got smarter too, but we also are hip to what they're doing, right? So we evolve as the game evolves, and you've always got to be evolving in this industry, learning new things, learning new exit strategies. And that's what we've done over time. Like when I first met you, that's all we knew was wholesale, cash, baby. Let's go. We're
Yeah.
closing in 7 days. And if you can't close in 7 days, I'll get the next buyer. Right. So
Um,
it's come a long ways.
yeah, because it's a big time crunch, especially when you're only doing like a 30-day contract.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You
you
got to
got to
move
get it
quick.
on in them 30 days. And a lot of times, if you don't, then you got to figure out a way to try to extend it.
Yep. Yep.
And a lot of people like, nah, man, I want my money. I want my money now because you telling them that you're buying it, but they don't
Yeah.
know you get that little box on that contract that
Yeah.
say I may assign.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's a whole nother aspect is customer service and dealing with these sellers.
Yeah.
It's not just locking them up. It's keeping the seller involved and aware
And
and
what's
being open and setting the right expectations up
Mhm.
front with that seller so
Yeah.
that as you're going through the process, if things arise, if you have a good relationship with the seller, and you treat them with respect, you're going to be able to do what you need to do to get the deal closed. And they can be understanding to some point. But yeah, to your point, we got to close it quick.
Yeah. And you can't deceive the seller. A lot of times when you're trying to do it, people be so antsy to try to close a deal, they deceive the seller and then they be liable behind that.
Yes, sir. So
Yeah.
you got to be careful, and that's just
Yeah.
setting the right expectations up front
Mhm.
and, being totally transparent with the seller.
Yeah.
And then you shouldn't have any issues at all.
All right. That's it, number 8. It's kind of, we touched on it a little bit, but you probably can break it down a little bit more as in the steps. So
Yeah.
we'll go from the steps you need as in the type of people you need, like the title companies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So what's the step-by-step process of closing a wholesale deal?
Yeah. So once we already like it kind of goes into our system, which is automated, right?
Mhm.
So once a deal is under contract, we already have pictures. We set up inspection times, which are basically when the buyers are going out there to see the property. So
Mhm.
once the buyer has looked at the property and they're in agreement to buy the property, then we send them a contract, right? An
Mhm.
assignment agreement. Take that assignment agreement and you send it over to your title agency. We use AMZ title, but there's many investor friendly title agencies nowadays because back in the day when I first started, you'd have to call the title agency first, scan them out, make sure they're okay with an assignment. Did they even know? You had to educate the title companies. But
Mhm.
now pretty much most title companies understand what an assignment is, a novation is, subject to is, whether
Mhm.
so whatever you're doing. But I do have certain title companies that I use if it's an assignment, if it's a novation, or if it's a owner finance deal, right? The one I use most for subject twos and owner finance is going to be closed title. Great title company, pretty much nationwide. Everywhere I do deals, they can do it. And basically, title company is going to get the clean, clear title, get your title insurance, your title commitment. If there's any issues on title and it's a good title agency, they work with you and the seller to clear those issues up
Mhm.
and get the title closed. You want a good title company that you work with that can help you through problems that may or may not arise on title. And I've
Yeah.
had
Won't
many,
send.
many issues where that's come up. But
Mhm.
with the right title company, we're able to fix that. It is the deal that you and I did. There was title issues,
Mhm.
and there was I think it was someone's name. I don't remember exactly, but there was an issue on title, and it was at the wrong at a title agency we had never used before. But we were trying them out, right? They weren't able to close it, and then we went over to core title, got everything fixed up with the title. They
Yeah.
fixed all the issues and closed right away the
Yeah.
very next week. So having the good relationships with title companies helps a lot.
So the step-by-step process will be number 1, finding the stress property, getting it under contract.
Sending it out to a list of cash buyers. I
Right.
also use Investor Lift. So I'll post it up on Investor Lift. I have people inbound calling me. wanting to buy the property because there's thousands of investors looking at Investor Lift every day. And then I have thousands of investors inside my own personal database, which I'll blast those out to. They're going to call and say, hey, I'm interested in that property. They've already seen the pictures of the property. They're going to go out and look at the property, make sure, everything that I've told them as far as what needs to be repaired matches up with what they see at the property. And if they have any questions or negotiations, that's pretty much handled over the phone. They sign the contract, put the deposit down the same day, if not next morning. That contract is sent along with the original contract to title. Then title will begin to process all of the paperwork, clear any title issues, get it ready for closing. Then you close and get paid. Pretty simple process.
Simple process. Yep.
Yep. Yep.
Yep. So if you're interested in getting into wholesaling,
Yeah.
call a couple local title companies and ask them some questions about assignment contracts. That way you'll have some of them already in your Rolodex, so they'll be able to guide you through the process. How can someone with little to no money get started today in wholesaling?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's plenty of free ways where they could just start. I think the easiest way, if you don't have a budget, is just to start cold calling leads. And you can get Deal Machine or you can get Investor Lift, not Investor Lift. Yeah, Prop Wire. You're going to have to skip trace. But if you I think it's $79 a month for Deal Machine, which is less than trying to pull a list and skip trace it. And you just go on there and you can just look for, distressed properties. They already have all these filters built into it. The best lists are distressed properties, people that are delinquent on their taxes. They had a divorce, right?
Yeah.
Or
probate too, but the probate.
Yeah, probates are good too, but it takes a little longer.
Yeah.
But when you're first starting out, you just want to get the low hanging fruit. So people that are vacant, non-owner occupied properties where the owner lives out of state are a great place to start. If you're just getting started in real estate. If you want to have a little bit more budget, then you hire some VAs to call those people for you. But if you're just getting started out, you don't have a big budget, you're just going to have to pound the phones for yourself. But it's a great learning opportunity. Then when you get a couple deals under your belt, you hire a few VAs and have those VAs start calling for you, so you can just spend your time focused on closing deals, right? Then after that, you can go to inbound leads, which is what I use. I use Facebook and PPC marketing, which is real easy now. I just, 3 clicks, and you can start your ads out online through a software that I have, which is, Self-Gen X.
It was a loud bang of lightning.
Yeah.
I don't know
it's coming down.
So, no money down. Look for them distressed properties in your neighborhood.
Yep.
So a lot of times it's something right around the corner that ain't been paying taxes 7-8 years. The state just has to put it out to auction.
Yeah. I mean, you could drive around your neighborhood right now and just look for properties that are distressed. You look for the high grass or boarded up windows, or that house has been vacant because you live in that area, and you can skip trace it. And you can, if you have Deal Machine, you could just plug in the address. It'll give you the name and phone number right away. You can just call them right up. Hey, I see your property is over here. I'm interested in making an offer.
I know, like that first house I sold, that house was vacant for like 20-something years.
Yep.
And it just sat there. Nobody ever moved into it. And I didn't even know that a family member owned that house the whole time.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah, family member owned the house the whole time. And he was like, I don't want nothing to do with it. It was one of my daddy rental properties. And me and my sister been going through it for these last 7-8 years.
Yeah.
I haven't paid the tax in 4 years. So I don't take it. But if you pay the taxes, you can have it because it's in my name.
Okay, great. Let's do it.
And
we did do it.
Yeah, I said, come on.
That's a funny thing. Yeah.
All right, we kind of touched on this one a little bit too. What tools or systems do you recommend to find leads and build a buyer's list?
Yeah, so I use Deal Machine, and in Deal Machine, I will go in there and set up the setting for cash buyers that bought a property, didn't hold that property for more than a year.
Yeah.
So I know that they flipped it, right? Mm-hmm. And then I take that by wherever I get a property under contract, I'll have the VA go into the Deal Machine, They'll set up those parameters. Once they set up those parameters, they'll pull that data, they throw that data into the CRM, and then the VA will call them, say, hey, I noticed that you bought a property on 125 Main Street. Are you looking for additional properties like that? Because I have one in your neighborhood. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Then they say, yeah, all right, I'm going to add you to my database. And then not only do they have the opportunity to buy that property, then we also have the opportunity to sell them additional properties in the future. So when
Mhm.
they go into our CRM, they are, tagged with a certain tag. So if they're buying in Central Florida, they get tagged Central Florida. If they're going to, so say a month from now, get another property in Central Florida, that guy's going to automatically get the next property. So
Mhm.
maybe he doesn't buy that, but I'm always building that cash buyers list, right? And then also use Investor Lift, which is paid. When you're first starting out, you may not want to do that, right? Because it's I think it's $1,500 a quarter, so you may not have the budget for that when you first start out. But calling the cash buyers and building up your personal cash buyers list is the best way to sell the properties, right? Or if it's a local property and you're doing properties right around you, you can also bandit signs for, getting sellers to call is like crickets. Nothing happens. But when you put a sign out at the Home Depot right around the property that you're flipping to sell it, it still draws a lot of attention to this day. And
Yeah.
you can move a property quick. If, I do nationwide, so I don't do that, but it still works to this day, getting a cash buyer to call you off the sign. Because if
Mhm.
they're in that neighborhood going to that Home Depot and they see that sign and they're doing a rehab in that neighborhood, it's most highly likely for them to want to buy another property close by. If they've got two properties going at the same time, it saves them money, time, and efficiency. They make more money when they got two houses on the same street going at the same time.
And that's that. To tell you the truth, that is a great idea though, because
Yeah, it
you're
works.
putting it there where the remodeling person gonna be at, and a lot of times people these days are already skilled in that trade,
Yep. Yep.
right? So now you're doing the work yourself. So you buy investment properties, you're probably gonna end up painting it yourself, replacing some drywall, putting
You're
fans.
definitely out. You're definitely out there watching the guys do the work to make sure
Yeah.
it gets done right. Because
Hmm.
every little penny counts in a rehab.
Oh,
You got to
yeah, you
keep the
do.
budget tight.
That's true. And another thing too, a lot of times people be looking at certain houses in the area that's probably been distressed, and they didn't want to pull the trigger on it because like it was an old house. It was an old house on the top of the hill. I had got it on a contract for like $5,000, but
Yeah.
it was a house that was there, and I didn't know one of my family members had bought the lot next to him, but I didn't never even know it.
Yeah.
And he actually ended up buying that lot because it was right next to the lot that he had already bought.
Yeah.
And he was like, I just bought that lot right there. I'm like, no, because the house it was just overgrown still.
Yeah.
And it was trails, we used to run through it as kids, and I didn't never know he bought it. And he was like, yeah, man, I bought that, and I want to buy everything that's around it.
Yep. Yep.
I was like, damn, man, ain't that
Yeah.
something?
Yeah. Some guys like to keep all their rentals in one place so they're not
Yeah.
running from here to there, back and forth.
Let's hit number 11. What are some common mistakes beginners make in wholesale?
Yeah. I think the biggest one is just not qualifying sellers properly. They're
Mhm.
locking up deals with bad numbers.
Yeah.
Um, changing strategies every week. They're trying to do everything manually, and they just get lost in the mix of things. So you really want to, when you're first starting out, just hone it down to one simple little thing. You got to get really good at running your numbers. And I knew about the numbers because I grew up from construction and rehabbing and seeing houses built, and I had already bought and sold properties, not knowing the wholesaling game, but I bought properties. Hold on one second. I bought properties for cash. I got to plug this in, and then but then later on, after I learned about wholesaling, it just helped me run the numbers. So I think the biggest mistake is just analyzing properties incorrectly just because they're not 100% sure on what it may cost or what it may not
Yeah.
cost.
Hmm.
But there's simple rules of thumbs you can use for rehabbing, whether it's a light, a moderate, or a heavy, and I use 20, $40, $60 a square foot, which is super simple. So then you just have to figure out, the seller don't always tell you everything, so you want to pad those numbers. And the last thing is make sure that you're, building in your profit. So a lot of guys will forget to put their assignment fee in there and subtract that from their offer price when they're first getting started, right? So you want to
Yeah.
make sure you have all those numbers. It's not just buying the property. It's not just, shooting a number out there. It's got to be analyzed. So you want to look at the comps in the neighborhood, what the other properties are selling for, what are the other properties, not what they're sold for, right? But what they're being listed at. So you want to look at all that stuff, right? And then how much you think it's going to cost you to fix it. And you can use that little 20, 40, 60 scope as a cheat sheet, right? Light, moderate, heavy, light, medium, or heavy rehab.
Yeah.
And that just comes through asking the right questions to the seller when you get them on the phone, building rapport with that client, right? And then understanding the property, evaluating it. I think that's some of the biggest mistakes people make.
Yeah.
And trying to do everything,
Mm-hmm.
But when you first start, you kind of have to do that, right? But
Yeah.
you got to, once you get that first deal and you can put that money back into the business and start delegating out some of the, tasks, that'll free you up, so that you can focus more on closing deals.
Because if you're overpricing that, listing it at a retail price, you can't wholesale at a retail price.
Yeah. Nobody's going to buy it. None of the cash buyers I know are going to buy it,
It's like going in the store buying a high dollar pair of shoes and trying to sell it for the same price coming out.
Right.
It don't work like that. It will
It
sit on the
just don't
market.
work.
Yeah, because that's why
Yeah,
a lot
man.
of those sit on the market because it's overvalued.
Yeah. Yeah.
Numbers is a big thing in wholesaling, man. You gotta know your numbers.
Yeah.
And
You
even
got to
if
know
you
your
can
numbers.
Zillow, you can go on Zillow and find like the same size square foot house within like the same neighborhood, and it'll tell you this house has been on here for 6 months, 400 days or something like that, and you'll know that that price is not a good price to
Yeah.
have it listed for because it's overpriced.
It's exactly
Because
right.
yeah, if it's on there for 25 days,
Yeah.
might be in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
If it's
it's
sold on
time.
day one, you got it right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Figured it out. Yeah. It's segment 4, real estate and wealth building.
Yeah.
How has real estate changed your life financially?
Yeah. So, when I first started out, it was more like a side gig. But then as it started evolving, we started getting more efficient. We started making more deals. We started getting systems and processes, and then we do anywhere from 30 to $60,000 a month in volume every single month. That's assignment fees to us, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, we've had months where we've done 120,000 in a month. So it's changed my life substantially because that's, most people will work all year long to make that kind of money,
Yeah.
you know, but if you get into wholesaling and you learn it right, then, you can make 30 to $60,000 a month easily. And
Hmm.
that's not killing yourself.
About three, 4 good deals.
Yeah. And we usually average about 4 to 6 deals a month,
That's sweet.
and
That's a sweet
now,
spot.
yeah. But what we're doing now, is we're taking those cash and, since we started doing owner financing at 0%, and we're taking those assignment fees, plugging them into the deposits, and we're getting them at, 10% down, 0% interest, and then renting those properties out to Section 8. So we'll get guaranteed rental income from the government, which we just started this year. So that's something, how it evolved, how it's changed our financial lives. And that's something that I'll be able to pass on to my kids, for that generational wealth.
Hmm.
Eventually, we'll get into commercial, industrial.
Yeah, that's sweet. Cause I got another one of my family members. We scheduled to do an interview, and he done acquired over $2 million in real estate within these last 2 years.
Nice.
Within section, all of them on Section 8. Only thing
Yeah.
he was doing was triplexes, duplexes,
Yep.
and finding them at a great price. And he put all of them on real and all of them
Section
on
8.
Section 8.
Yeah.
And like he killing it. He good enough, the house messed up, remodeled it
Yeah.
within a couple months, put it right
Yeah.
on there. But he got
Yeah.
over $2 million in real estate within like a year and a half.
Yeah.
He was killing it.
Yep. That's one thing I like about owner financing is you can get the property, at a great price. You can get it, and if you structure it right, then
Hmm.
you're cash flowing, and it's pretty much mailbox money or a virtual money machine. Because
Yeah.
once if you get it at 0% interest in 2.5, 3 years, you can refinance that, pull everything out that you put into it, and you don't have anything in that property except the equity left, cash flow,
Mhm.
all your money back, and you can do it again and again and again. So it's more like a flywheel. Once you get
Yeah.
that ball rolling, just want to
Yeah.
keep it moving.
So that's why when my cousin started doing it, I say, man, you a monster with that thing. He said,
Yeah,
man,
yeah,
he figured something out, but he got into acquisitions.
yeah, yeah,
So he didn't get a real estate license. He just started doing acquisitions for a wholesaling company. So
yeah.
he learned the insides of it, and
Yes,
then
he did.
took the information of what he learned off of that.
And
He
he
jumped
ran
head
with it.
into
I
those
like
deals.
it. That's super
Mhm.
cool. Yeah, you want to help other people along the way, give back.
Yeah, that's sweet. All right, let's hit number 13. What's the difference between being rich and being wealthy to you?
What was that?
What's the difference between being rich and being wealthy?
Yeah, rich is just income, wealth is freedom. That's to me is what it is. When you're
Hmm.
rich, you're buying liabilities, but wealth, you build assets, legacy. I don't want to just look successful. I want to own my own time.
Yeah. Can't get none of that
That's
back, man. You
yes.
can't get it back.
You want your money working for you, not you working for money.
A lot of people look rich, but ain't rich too.
Yeah, that's true. I just keep a low profile, keep my nose clean, and stay on the grind.
Yeah, that's good because it's just like Warren Buffett and all them other was multi-billionaires still
Yeah.
buy their clothes out of Walmart.
Yeah.
Warren Buffett never buy a car. He buy a car 6 years old.
Right, right.
Whatever it is that he buy at 6 years old, and his preferably car is a Cadillac.
Yeah, and he stayed in the same house for the last 20 years, I think it was. Or
He bought the house in the
yeah,
50s.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
He could buy 100 houses.
Yeah, Charlie Munger, his mentor, bought the same house and been living in that same damn house the whole time until he passed.
Wow.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, but that's how you do it. Snoop Dogg is a smart guy too. Him and
Yeah,
Master,
he is. He
because
is.
Master P bought him a house in New Orleans when he first came to No Limit. He paid Master P always paid cash
Yeah,
for
yeah.
all his houses. But Snoop Dogg bought one house in Long Beach. He bought it back in the 90s. He still
Yeah.
live in that same house to this day. He bought it at like 300 some thousand. It's valued at a little bit over $1 million or so
Oh, I'm
now.
sure. Yeah.
Um, so you just looking at it like how many people that gets millions of dollars and they just go buy a whole bunch of things that you can't even live in the house. You know what I mean? You can't live in 20 houses, you're only one person.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how are you gonna pay all those bills if you just got the $1 million, right? You got the
Right,
million
right.
dollars, but you don't have the passive income coming back in to take care of all of this. So it's
Exactly.
just gonna go out. It's not gonna come back in. And that's how a lot of those people within the basketball players, football players, they do the same thing because they don't have financial literacy. They
Yeah.
do the same thing, and within a year of them signing $100 million contract, $30 million contract, they're broke.
Yeah.
Shaq did the same thing. He spent $1 million as soon as he got the million. He spent the whole million.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I heard him talk
Oh,
about
but he didn't pay
he bought some
taxes on it.
cars and stuff.
Yeah, he bought him
Yeah.
a car, bought his mama a car, his daddy a car, 50,000 to the homeboys. You
Yeah,
know
yeah.
what I'm saying? And the guy said, "Hey man, you forgot you had to pay taxes on that money, man. So
Yeah,
in all reality, you didn't have $1 million. You had about 750,000.
exactly.
Yeah. So you gotta be up on your stuff, man. You gotta,
Yeah. You want to buy assets that pay you,
yeah,
not spend your money on liabilities or,
yeah.
funky stuff, fast cars. You can
Hmm.
buy the fast cars, but you need to be, having your assets buy those cars, not coming out of your income.
Yep, a bigger asset column than a liability.
Yeah, big time.
All right, number 14. How important is mentorship when building a business in real estate?
Yeah, I think it's non negotiable. You either pay with time or access.
Hmm.
So, The mentorship just gives you like a collapse on time. So it kind of just jumps you right to the front, right? So, I had to learn everything just by trial and error. So it took me a little bit longer. Even though I had the background, I had the information, I still had to learn everything step by step when I first started, right? But,
Anytime you could tap into somebody that's already specializing in that field, it shortens the time period when you getting there. Other than reading a book, because I'm gonna tell you like this, right? When I first started learning about the wholesaling, I was reading a book. It was Dean Graziosi, him and Tony Robbins. I was listening to them, but Dean Graziosi was wholesaling,
yeah,
and he was putting it all in play, like this how you do step by step. But they never give you all the information.
right,
They
right.
give you little bits and
Just
pieces, bits
enough.
and pieces. Yeah, just enough to make you interested in buying a course or something else
Yeah.
like that. So I was like, damn, let me get online. Let me see if I can find somebody. And then your website had popped up when I was on there.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so I just talked to y'all on the website, and I was like, damn. And then you actually shortened my time, like you
The
shortened my
learning
time up to
curve.
help me figure it out faster than
Yeah.
sitting there keep going through this mess there. So anytime somebody knows something more than you and they already specializing in it and they got the information, follow that information
Yeah.
because
I
that's
do it
gonna
for
guide.
I teach people for free now. A lot of
Yeah.
guys will sell the course, but I have a little community and a little Discord. People can come, they can get the scripts, they can get the contracts, they can get everything, and we even JV on deals with them to help them move their deals. Like anytime you get a deal, you call me, I help you move it. I don't
Hmm.
charge you for that, and I pay you 50%. So that's how I give back is teaching people, and I don't charge them, but of course, I got to get paid for what I do. But that's bringing the knowledge, the experience, and the buyer, right? So I deserve that 50%, just like you deserve 50% for bringing the deal, getting it locked up under contract. And then also, we started doing novations. So if people are a little more advanced and they have a lot of deals that they didn't fit their wholesale buy box, we'll take and show them how to do either hands off, fully hands off novation, where we'll take the deal, sell the deal, pay for any repairs on the properties that are needed, go all the way through the closing process with all the realtors and such, and
Hmm.
then get that deal closed. And we still pay them out 40%
Yeah,
because we have to,
you gotta.
sometimes on innovations, you got to pay for some repairs. You got to fix a wall. You got to paint. I had to put flooring down. I had to get the tree shrubbed, all that stuff. So it comes out of pocket. But
Yeah.
that's what it takes to get a deal done. And in that time frame, they're learning how to do it themselves, right?
Mhm.
And then they can just go off and do them on their own. But in the beginning, that's how I give back is through mentorship and teaching other people how to do this, which is good.
Anybody can use a mentor though. Especially if you
Yeah.
want to specialize in something, go to somebody that already know what they're doing with it and follow them, shadow them. They help
Yeah.
guide you through that path and make it a little easier on you.
Yeah. That's how I learned. That guy, he paid $25,000 for a course, and all I did was work for him for what, 4 to 6 months, I think it was, and I learned everything I needed to know. I didn't like working for him because he was unethical, so I just waited for the non-compete, which is about a year. I could have probably done it sooner, but I waited the full time because he was that kind of guy, where he would come after you. So I just waited, and then I said, okay, now it's time. I'll start my own.
Because they got a lot
Yeah,
of them programs like that.
yeah,
Because when I started reading the books, one of my partners, he owns the Dog Walker Ranch. It's like a
yeah.
pet resort, one of the biggest ones in Ocala.
Oh yeah, nice.
We would start talking about the wholesaling a while, and then he was like, "I got this event for us to go to," and we drove down to Orlando, stayed down there for 2 days,
Yeah.
and it was Fortune Builders.
Okay. I've heard that name before.
Fortune Builders, and
Yeah.
they had how they have a low level ticket. They give you all these books and stuff like that. Then
Yeah.
they got
Yeah.
the next level ticket that's halfway through it. Then they got the top tier, the high dollar ticket, and the high dollar
Yeah.
ticket was like $50,000. But they train you through the whole process, and I was like, damn. But a lot of people, but they try to sell the program, so they don't tell you that this thing is gonna be $50,000 until They get your ass in that seat because they know you might be really interested. And it was people there. It was like 100 and something people there. And you'd be amazed that so many people were like, "Yeah, I got 50,000. Here, teach me this, teach me this." And
Wow. Yeah.
it's money
People
to be
pay it.
made, money to be
Yeah.
made, and especially if they got a successful system already going, it's money to be made. Because like I say, down there, out of them 100 and some people, at least 20 people that we seen, they signed up right then and there, charging their credit cards and whatever else. So, but they was
Yeah.
already in the business. They already own, some of them already own rental properties, and so
That's good stuff.
15. What do you think is holding most people back from getting started?
I think it's fear and perfection. They want to know everything before they really do anything.
The
But
You got to speak up a little bit.
yeah, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So this business rewards.
Mm-hmm.
You got to fail fast and adjust quickly. And the people who are winning, they don't overthink the whole thing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
called analysis paralysis. I'm gonna look at the deal and find the deal and analyze the deal and they just get so caught up in trying to figure that out or which lead source do I go to? Should I do this one? Which mentor should I go? Should I do that one? And they're
Mm-hmm.
looking around. I think so, to get through that, massive action. You gotta just go. Very simple. Pick up deal machine, get on there, skip trace. We come skip trace. So you don't even have to go through all the things we had to go through back in the day. You just put on there vacant property owners, tired landlords, call them up. That's it. One list, take massive action. That's it. You
So
know, but people
what's
get
holding them back is fear of failure.
Yeah, fear of failure, I think, is the biggest thing. Or
Mm-hmm.
analysis paralysis, where they're just analyzing which way do I go? How do I get started? Who's the best person to work with? What do I do? What do I say? But, that's why I have the little community. You can come in, you can get the free scripts, you can get the free training, you can get the free contracts, right? Then all you have to do is take action.
What's
So
the
it's
name?
really it's a Discord. It's in the link in my Instagram. So
Okay.
I have a free Discord.
We'll
Yeah,
drop it down in
I'll
when I
drop it in there.
comments in there. I'm gonna put all the information in there so they can find your group.
Okay, brother.
Yeah. So fear of failure hold a lot of people back from a lot of things that they should be doing because it's just like you get a nervous gut feeling. But nervous gut feeling is really telling you to, hey man, go try that. You're stuck in a comfort zone that don't never really get you anywhere. When I was nervous, I was nervous as hell to write a book, but I could write a book. If you take my time out, I can write that book. But I'm
Yeah.
worried about what somebody else gonna say, you know what I mean? You can't base your life on somebody else feeling the way
No.
about you, or you just gotta go at it.
Yeah. Take
Anything you
massive action.
go and don't look back. Cause
No.
like you say, you didn't look back, haven't
No.
looked back, and I don't achieve things that I never thought I would have achieved in my life if I would have stayed stagnant, sitting there analyzing this and analyzing that, and never put no action towards it. I would still be sitting in that same damn spot.
Yeah. Not good.
So I learned from my failure, and I'm still pushing through my failure. And
Yeah,
like
man.
you said, you gotta fail fast, ain't it?
Yeah. Fail
Fail
forward. Fail forward and fail fast.
Yeah, you gotta fail fast because if you fail fast, you learning it, man. You
Yeah.
learning. Uh, we're in the final segment.
Okay.
This is final thoughts and wisdom. What's one
Okay.
deal that changed everything for you?
Yeah, I think one deal that changed everything for me is earlier this year. Or no, earlier last year, we started doing novations.
Yeah,
And I wasn't sure how to do it, but I figured it out. Didn't want to pay, $5,000 for a course, and it's about energy. So I'm looking around, I'm thinking about, how to do novations. And I just looked online and seen how other people were doing it, how they were pitching it. And the next morning, I got a text from a guy who says, "Hey, do you need a novation agreement?" I'm like, "What?" Yeah. As soon as he sent me that, I started, negotiating a novation deal. And that one is the one we were talking about earlier. I made $53,000 on it. It was on the market one day.
damn.
One day. It was in Maryland, right
Yeah,
close to Washington, D.C.
yeah.
I'll never forget it. And then, after that, we just started doing more and more novations because we're like, Okay, average wholesale deal is 12,000. Average novation's 30,000. Right?
Yeah.
It's 3 times the amount of money.
You
Which
hit.
one are you gonna do? Well, then we also started doing, wholesale. Owner finance and subject twos. I've done them before. I just didn't like them back then because wholesaling was just so much more abundant, right? And I'm just a machine.
Yeah.
But now, I want those owner finance deals for myself because I can pick them up. If I don't want it, I just wholesale it off, right? But if I want it, I want to keep it. If I can
Yeah.
get it zero, below 10% down, 0% interest, and a 5-year balloon, I'm in because then I'll just Section 8 it. Of
Yeah.
course, the payment's got to be around 40 to 50% of what the rental rate is, so it cash flows. But as long as it's cash flowing and I'm getting it at 0% interest, you can't lose in that one.
So at the end of that, what, refinancing and pay the whole thing off?
Yeah, refinance. I pull that cash back out and do it again and again and again and again. Let's go.
Yeah. Refinance it, pay off that
Yeah.
balloon, put some
And that's
money.
tax free money.
Yeah. Put money
You
back
know,
in your pocket.
I'm going to put it right into another property and another property and another property like that.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
sweet though.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that one deal with the novation changed everything.
Yes, sir.
Let's hit this one. What advice would you give someone stuck between the streets and success?
Well, I would say they need to flip the energy. The streets will teach you the grind, the risk, the pattern
Yeah.
recognition, but you can use that in business. Just look at Jay-Z.
Yeah.
The kid was in the streets. Look at 50 Cent. The kid was in the streets struggling,
Hmm.
but you know what he had?
The mindset.
Sense. Yeah, he had, and they took that energy and flipped it into a business, right?
A massive
So the
business at that.
yeah, both massive business. 50 Cent's like the largest landlord in
And Louisiana.
Louisiana. Yeah. It's massive, right? And that's just reinvesting and flipping that energy. I'm going to use this for a positive sense, right?
Hmm.
So I think that's someone stuck in the streets. That's biggest thing is they need to flip that energy and just put
To get
all that
comfortable.
common sense and business mastery that they really know. They just don't realize they know it, right? So then you need to flip that and just getting involved and getting around other people that are doing what we're doing, right?
Something different.
So you got to network. They always say your network's your net worth. So if you're hanging around the dogs long enough, you're gonna smell like the dog. You hang around the pool long enough, you're gonna get wet. That's
That's
what my
true.
mama used to say.
That's true. Because just like with me growing up, I was raised in a neighborhood that was full of drug dealers. So
Yeah,
that's what that's what I
that's the
did.
environment. Yeah,
Yeah. So that was my environment. So instead of me, I had to adapt to my environment, and that's what I did. And me adapting to my environment, I adapted to the certain ways and things that they was doing, and eventually it sent me to prison, just like everybody else was doing.
yep, yep, yep,
So if you being a hustler, being in the street, if you could sell drugs, you could sell shirts, you could sell
yep.
hats, you could sell books, you could sell CDs, you could
You can
sell
sell real
anything.
estate.
Yeah, real estate, yeah. Anything. You can sell it because it's a hustle.
Yeah, yeah,
Everything is a
yeah.
hustle. So put more energy towards something that you know that ain't gonna get you in trouble. Or
Exactly.
take your life or take you away from your family.
Yeah, man.
It's out there. So figure it out and get to it.
Positive. Yeah, good
Yeah.
positive vibes.
Yep. Lead by example. Show your kids a better version of yourself.
Yes, sir.
Let's hit number 18.
Okay.
If you could go back and talk to your younger self, what would you say?
I would just say stay focused and trust in your abilities, right? Don't
Mm-hmm.
try to do everything just because you're good or talented. You want to just stay. I think the biggest thing is staying focused. And within that focus, just really put in all your energy, all your time, and all your focus right into that one thing. You
Yeah.
start doing two, three, four different things, you don't know where, you just get lost and you're
Mm-hmm.
distracted. It's just pulling you in different ways. I'd learned that the hard way. I knew I had talent because I was already retired at 30. I was
Yeah.
living in the beach in Brazil,
Yeah.
right? I had already sold my first company. I was chilling, right?
Yeah.
But then when I came back, I was kind of distracted. I'm like, I got the talent. I can do it all, right? I
Yeah.
try to do everything. So I think, but stay focused, pick that one thing that you want to do, whatever that may be, and just grind it out, right? Put all your time, your energy, your effort, your focus, your learning, get a good mentor, and just run with it, right? But just stay focused.
So that could be staying focused, building
Yeah.
your business. Your business might have different avenues of revenue coming in. So basically, that's kind of like moving yourself around a little bit too. But
Yeah.
building the business, you still got to grind it out no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Um,
like when we first started, we were only doing wholesale deals, but today we're doing wholesale, novation, subject to owner finance, right?
mhm.
But we're still focused on the main goal. What is that goal? Buying, selling, and getting paid. Buying, selling, getting paid,
Yeah,
right? We
still the
got
same
different
play.
avenues to do the same thing, but that's just,
Mhm.
evolving and learning the market and adapting to the trends of the market so that, no matter if it's an end buyer, a Section 8 guy, or I'm keeping it for myself, or I'm selling it to a cash flipper or retail guy, I want to be able to move that property and, as quick as possible in the most efficient way and to make the most amount of profit.
Mhm.
So, but that's still very focused because I'm only focused on growing the business.
So
Yeah,
you
man.
still
Keep
still
your
on the
eyes on the target. Let's go. Let's go.
yeah,
You got to
come
get your
with
KPIs, your
yeah.
numbers. What's your sales
Mhm.
process? How we going to move these properties quick? And that just, kind of out of that comes that formula, right?
Mhm.
Of what you're going to do with each individual property.
So something you'll tell yourself, your younger self, is stay on track.
Yeah. Stay focused.
Stay focused.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Like number 19, this is the last one.
Okay.
What does legacy mean to you?
I think legacy is just like systems that you outlive yourself, right? So it's something
Mhm.
you're passing on. It's not just money, it's mindset, it's structure, it's an impact that can be passed down, to your kids.
Yeah.
So I want them to inherit awareness. And to me that's real wealth, right?
Yeah. The blueprint.
Yeah.
The blueprint, because you
They
already
can
put the
give that.
work in. Yeah. You put the
Yeah.
work in, give them the blueprint, and let
Yes,
them
sir.
add to that blueprint and make it way better than where you started at.
Oh yeah, man.
Keep it
They're gonna
going for
evolve.
generations.
Evolve. Yeah. They will evolve and they will do things differently, but you
Hmm.
give them that base, that foundation, and that legacy, right? And they remember where it
Oh,
came from.
this has been an
Awesome, man.
amazing episode, my brother.
Yes,
I
sir.
really appreciate you
I've
checking
been
in.
looking forward to this. Thank you
Yeah,
for
man,
having
I'm
me on today, man.
trying to get you
Yeah,
on here, man.
I was in the process of moving and stuff, so but
Yeah,
I'm all settled down. We finally got on here and got this thing knocked out, so I'm super happy for you, and for myself. I like to see people grow.
yes,
I've been watching you and seeing you grow, man. Just really, really inspirational.
yeah. I'm just, like I said, just trying to become the best version of myself and my family, man.
Awesome.
Wherever God takes me at, where I'm headed. So,
Cool.
where can they find you at?
Yeah, I mean, you could get me on TikTok at Lee Windsor EREI, Lee Windsor EI for
Uh,
like REI, or you can hit me up on Instagram, or you can just shoot me an email. You can go to my website, rphousebuyers.com. My email address is edwardwindsor@rphousebuyers.com. But if you go on my Instagram, which is Lee Windsor RP, I have all the links in there. So you just hit my name and you'll have all the different links, whether you want a JV wholesale a deal, if you want to learn how to wholesale deals, if you're advanced and you want to do novation deals, just hit me up through there. All the links are in there on my Instagram profile.
and
Lee Windsor RP. What's that?
all his links will be in the description.
Yeah.
So we hit that down tab, whether you're watching this on YouTube or you're on Spotify, all of the information will be in the description. If you're looking to break generational cycles, learn how to get into real estate, or just need motivation to start something of your own, tap into this episode.
Let's
Share it
go.
with someone who needs to hear it. New episodes drop every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be streaming on all streaming platforms. Lee,
Cool.
I really appreciate you coming
No
on here,
problem, brother.
dropping the knowledge to the people, man. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
All right, man. I appreciate you, and I appreciate your whole community of people out here. If you guys need any help, reach out. You can reach out to either one of us, and I'll put all the links in the bottom of the video.